Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope this video finds you doing well, having a good week. Whether or not you're quarantined, if you're really watching this in 2020, but if it's 2021 or later and you're watching this, I'm sorry for that. But anyways, welcome back. And tonight, kind of going our highlights, we're going to talk about VTTA, D&D Beyond module. You can see here on the screen, I've already got it up, but it is one of the, my top two modules. The other in my last video, which I have a link here below or in the comments or whatever, about the Combat Utility Belt. Tonight we're going to talk slightly about VTTA-D&D Beyond, but one specific feature of it, which is the character importer part. Something I didn't realize it had until later on, but it was, I want to say, super cool, super awesome. But just show you kind of a little bit of what it does. For those that are wondering, hey, what is this module? Where do I find it? As normal, when you're on your main setup screen, you would actually, let's go out there. We'll just show you guys. Actually, it helps actually if I go back to the actual setup screen. So we're going to go here. If you're the DM, you would go to the setup screen, and under add-on modules, you would install a module, and it would be the VTTA. So we'll do a search. Oh, VTTA D&D Beyond integration. If you already have it, you click it, nothing will happen because it's already installed. But if you don't have it, this is the one. If you click the link, it'll take you to the website, which I have listed here, the virtual tabletop assets. The developer is super active on Discord. He's also on Twitch, so I'll put some links to it as well. He's also on the Reddit subreddit Foundry VTT. So quite active gentleman, very friendly, very open on building this. He'll do some streaming stuff showing how he's building it. It's super awesome, which I love the community work, that the passion that folks are putting into Foundry VTT. So anyways, once you have it up and running, installed here, so install it and go, and then go ahead and kick off your game. So we're going to do the Delian Tomb one, and like all the other modules, you need to go under Manage Modules and make sure it's enabled. So for here, scroll to the bottom, VTTA, or Virtual Tabletop Assets D&D Beyond Integration by Mr. Sebastian Will. So go ahead, click it, enable it, and we'll kick it off and go. So you're like, okay, so what does it do? Well, it does a couple things, and let's go check out their site just to kind of show you a little bit of what it does, what it shows. See, pardon me. Couple things here. His directions are great. His instructions, lets you know that you can import monsters from D&D Beyond. Stats, actions, reactions, legendary actions, so you can kind of build a compendium. So if you have full subscription to D&D Beyond, or even right now without the Patreon, you see I'm not logged in, I'm not a Patreon supporter, but you can, with the SRD, you can import basic stuff into Foundry. Really easy to do. If you follow the instructions here, it kind of shows you what happens, and you highlight over something, you click something, how it imports into it. What I want to highlight is this part here, usage, importing a character. I did not realize it had this. And I was like, what is this B in my character? And once I discovered it, I was like, this is awesome. To me, and this is part of the free thing. Actually, somebody had posted on the Foundry subreddit recently, and so it got me thinking, oh, we need to highlight this because it's a really cool feature. So let's go here in D&D Beyond. I've got my characters. You can see I've got a number of Dragonborn. I have two sons, two boys. They love Dragonborn, so we like to create Dragonborn characters. So I've got my character here, the Mishmash. He's a level 4 elf sorcerer. Pardon the stats on him. I basically hit random creation. And I've got my extension. So for integration, a couple things. Obviously, you need the module within Foundry. So from a DM aspect, you need the module, but you also need the VTT Beyond Assets D&D Beyond extension. So you do need that one as well. Once you have it in Chrome, You can click it, it'll bring up some options. If you have Patreon, it'll let you know if you're running it in basic mode or Patreon mode. I'm running it in basic mode as that is all I have. So, which is fine. In order for you to import your information, you're going to need this. So once I have it, we'll go back here, go back to D&D, and I've got my character. Like, I want this character, like, if I want to take all this information that I built either by hand or random rolling, you know, D&D Beyond has some awesome stuff here. You're like, how do I get that information within Foundry? Well, I could create a brand new character, type it all in manually, go back and forth, and hopefully I didn't make a mistake, and life goes on. That's one way of doing it. The other is when you have a character out there, where you have a character created. You know, I've got my create an actor, you can name it whatever. So you open up the character, it's going to open up, you'll see their standard stuff. You notice this one's a level 0, nothing because I'm using this one for testing. But if you have the module installed, you'll see a B here. So click that B, and you're like, huh, what is this thing? Save a reference to your character for easy access. You know, opens the D&D Beyond character sheet, out left click opens the JSON character sheet. So you're like, huh, profile user character ID, and here's the URL. You're like, okay, that's interesting. So let me see here, D&D Beyond profile, Chipmunky, characters. There's my character URL. So we're going to copy that. We're going to go here. We're going to paste it here. Follows the format. You get a green check mark, which lets you know that, hey, that was formatted correctly. So now that we have it, you can close it or whatever. You notice this turns red now. Super cool. You're like, oh, what does that mean? Well, let's find out. So now you want to import the data. All that does is kind of tie it on the back end. Hey, this is a legit character. It's everything. So now we want to open your character sheet in D&D Beyond, add a JSON to the URL, and then press enter. Be patient. And then on Chrome and Firefox, how to copy it, and you paste it here. Like, huh, that's weird. So you can, so let's do what they say here, right? Alt left click. So I'm going to click that, I'm going to hit the Alt key, and it brings up a pop-up window, which you probably don't see here. Let me change my my source input here, just so you guys kind of see. You now see a pop-up of a JSON, right? And you're like, whoa, if you're not a developer or anything, this is probably looks like Greek to you, but JSON is short for JavaScript object notation. It's a way of formatting key value pairs of data within web development. It's used pretty much by most everything on the web today. So now you've got this here, so I'm going to highlight it all. I'm going to copy, so Windows Control C, Mac Command C. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to paste it in my character sheet. So I'm going to go back to here and then Control V. And you notice it just filled a whole bunch of data. Now granted, my character is pretty simple. Now you notice, guess what? It's now a level 4 character, 22 health. It has my items here. Let's go to inventory, unarmed strike, dagger, crossbow. It's got some items because I did kind of basic inventory. So if I go here to equipment, you'll see, hey, what I have equipped. All my stats have come across. That is a lifesaver. If you're playing and you have D&D Beyond managed characters, features, spellbook has my spells in there. It's just awesome. So what if you're updating? So now you can play your game, right? So let's now, this character, you're in the game, now we're just going to do a dagger strike, right? So now, here we go. And you can run and play. It's going to pull all your data, all your information as it normally would. You know, maybe I'll cast Acid Splash or something like that. And everything. And boom, you don't need D&D Beyond anymore to run this, run your game. You can just play it. You're golden. But if you don't, if you have the D&D Beyond extension, which will be another video, but let's say you made some updates to this, and maybe he gained a level or something like that, or he lost items, or whatever the effect is, right? So let's say, for instance, you're keeping track of hit points here. So maybe he's down to 10 hit points, and yes, because I got the Beyond, so ignore that pop up, and maybe he doesn't have his daggers equipped anymore for some reason. So now my data is there, so I'm good. You can go back and into your character, you can hit Alt and left click to open up a JSON window. If you're in there, you actually can just type in JSON. It's going to bring up the same data, the same information. Once it's done loading, depending on the size and how large a character you have, you can see it's according to this information to load it. So now it's done. We're going to copy that. We're going to go back in here. We're going to paste it and update it. And look at that. Updated his health. His health is now 10. Let me see here. Inventory. I still have, daggers unequipped. Now, granted, every time you make a small change in D&D Beyond, you're probably not going to want to copy and paste that. This is good, major changes, you guys doing a long rest or in between adventures, you're running your campaign there, and your DM is doing all that stuff, and before the game starts, you want to dump a fresh copy of all your data into Foundry so you have it. This is the way to go. So there you go. So if you're wondering what the B is, you haven't figured it out, that's what it is. It is the virtual tabletop assets, the importing character. You does not require Patreon to have access to this. As you guys saw, I do not have Patreon on this. I am just a guest right here, guest user. Basically, if I click options, it opens up this window here. I'll show you guys real quick. If I click options, I'm not a Patreon, so you can see that it works and enables you to copy characters quickly from D&D Beyond into Foundry Virtual Tabletop, not vice versa, and that is it. So hopefully that is super helpful for you guys. Just a quick overview of the VTTA D&D Beyond by Sebastian Will. Awesome plugin, module I should say. Highly recommend you get it. That's all I've got for tonight. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Talk to you later.